What's poppin', people? My name's KingPen Capone. I'm the CEO of Black Cartel Publications. But before we get off into that, I'm gonna need you guys to like, share, subscribe, and that icon button over there, man, hit that too, man, so you guys will be notified when Black Cartel drop content. But before we get off into that, Maestro, hit me one time, man.
This is Black Cartel, bitch, so why would you trip? On them trees that we smoking, 06 is the sit. Black attire be my threads. Straight ball fade, no dreads. Fuck the police, cause on my payroll it's the motherfucking feds. My niggas is like troopers, they got mad skills for real, born with text in hand. Similar to Navy SEAL scopes, infrared text, and bulletproof vests. Sometimes I feel like I'm Superman without the S on my chest. Understand this, fucking with me, mad phone calls is being made, so be on your way to the...
All right, y'all, so what's good, man? Today, I'm making this video because I'm going to be reading from the Hyghlyfe, you know, and as for me, I always give a backdrop, a backstory on why I wrote this book, what was my inspiration, where was my mind frame at the time that I wrote it. So I'm supposed to be reading this. I got 2 videos out already on Best Served Code, but now I'm about to hit y'all with the Hyghlyfe. I'm gonna hit you guys with the Mistaken Identity Volume 1, The Hitman, and I'm also gonna hit you guys with Mistaken Identity Volume 2, The Doughboy. But before we get off into that, I gotta knock this one down first. Oh, my bad. I gotta knock this one down first. So the story and motivation behind this book was this. One day we were at my partner's rap. It's about 5, 6 of us, and we was all ragging on each other and whatnot. I was just, you know, sitting back laughing. You know, nobody was ranking on me. I wasn't ranking on nobody. I'm just laughing at everybody else catching wreck. You feel me? So one dude see me laughing a little bit too hard, and he say, you know, what you laughing at? What's up with you in those books? I'm like, what you mean? He was like, how we know you wasn't over at the other prison? Kicked the dude box, took the books, put your name on it, came over here, and you making it seem like you this big time author. How we know you ain't did that? I'm like, okay. Not only did I write those books, now it's a crowd around us now. Not only did I write those books, but I'll write a book in 30 days. And they're like, what? Because they know, they know about me and whatnot. They know how long it took me to write a book, which was 4 to 6 months. You feel me? He even asked me. 4 to 6 months is what I told him. So now niggas making bets. Like, you can't write a book in 30 days. You can't write a book in 30 days. I'm like, man, yes, I can. Yes, I can. So boom, the bet was made, placed, boom, right? So I'm walking back to my rack like, how the fuck am I gonna pull this off? You feel what I'm saying? So I had to come up with a topic and a structure I can do it. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by structure is this. This is how I pulled it off. College ruled paper compared to the paper that they use in elementary school with the big lines, a whole bunch of space in between them. College ruled paper got 33 lines, no space in between them. You feel me? Just, you know, it has space in it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I consider 5 of those pages, front and back, top to bottom, left to right, a chapter. So what I did was I cut it down to 3 pages. So boom, I had that part, you know, aced away because I could write 3 pages a day. Who can't? We in prison. I ain't got nothing but time. You feel me? Now what's the topic? What can I write about the topic? So I chose to write about myself. Like, if all the stars aligned, if all the chips were right, if I met the man and he fell in love with my work, I mean, like, everything had to work out. You know what I'm saying? With a little drama, and that's what I wrote about. And I did it. I pulled it off. 28 days, that book was done. 28 days, this book was done. And it's so hot, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of my crowning achievements right here, because that's how fast I wrote it and how good it turned out. So I ain't gonna talk your ears off. I'm gonna let you be a judge for yourself. Let's get to it, y'all. The Hyghlyfe, written and narrated by KingPen Capone. Enjoy.
Black Cartel presents The Hyghlyfe, written and narrated by KingPen Capone. Prologue. Julius White was at the height of his drug trafficking career. He was chipped up, caked up about his paper route. Now, for those of you who failed ebonics, he was paid. 9 times out of 10, if you look in the dictionary under the word paid, you'll probably see Julius standing there holding stacks of money with ice hanging off his ears and around his neck. He was known for the exotic reptiles on his feet with some sort of animal on his back. Julius had over 20 crack houses scattered throughout Cleveland. Every time the police shut one down, Julius would open 2 more. Money and cocaine flowed through his hands like men through the revolving door of the penal system. What made him such a phenomenon in this illegal profession was because Julius made sure every penny and gram of coke was accounted for. When someone was short, that person would be dealt with swift and brutally, including the day. Butter. Julius's designated driver navigated the Range Rover through Cleveland's west side while Julius engaged in a heated conversation on his cell phone. "Did you find the motherfucker?" "Yeah, we got him over here on 65th and Franklin at the Franklin House Apartments," the voice responded. "Does he have my shit?" "You know what? As a matter of fact, don't answer that. Just keep that bitch right there." "Jay, there's something else." "What?" Julius barked. "He's over here with Yolanda." "Yolanda who?" Julius cautiously asked. "Yolanda Devine, man." The silence was strong, so strong that the voice had to speak. "You still there, Jay?" "Yeah, man, I'm here. Just keep him and that bitch there. I'm on my way," he responded in a defeated tone. Of all the low-life, gold-digging women in Cleveland, Yolanda Devine was the last woman he wanted to hear, especially in the matter of his money and dope coming up missing. 3 bricks and 45,000 to be exact. So fine, Yolanda Devine at one time was a dope man's dream. Fantasy even. She was a thick red bone with a body that looked as though it was chiseled out of perfection. Her dimensions were 36 double D 2542. Put it like this, Yolanda had ass when ass wasn't even in. She had gray eyes that seemed to look past the skin and flesh straight into the soul, with a set of lips on her that would make Megan Good's parents try to have another girl and pray that her lips would miraculously come close. In short, Yolanda was a bad bitch. In those days, Yolanda used those looks to keep her between dope men. She only stayed with them if they were on the top of their game. The slightest slip from the rankings of Cleveland's elite and she was ghost. All of that came crashing down when Yolanda ran into an out-of-state hustler that would eventually break into her head and control her through dick and dope, thus bringing her to her knees. Long story short, she went from getting beat on a regular to sniffing blow, from blow to smoking cocaine-laced cigarettes, from laced cigarettes to her current condition of sucking the infamous glass pipe. In every dope man's story, one of those 3-letter clans came calling. Well, let's just say that the out-of-state hustler will never see the light of day again. Before he left, he blessed the world with a bouncing baby girl, Sky Devine. It was sad, but Sky was a constant reminder of the torture she had to endure while with him. Yolanda was blessed over the years. As time passed, her physique held itself together, only coming loose minimally. For the abuse she took from her ex, not to mention her addiction, she vowed revenge. She still attracted men like moths to a flame, that's if you didn't know about her reputation in the streets. One in particular, a down south hustler that happened to be Julius's first cousin. His name was Bama. Because of the past that Julius and Sky shared, Bama didn't know that he would be in a world of trouble the moment he said hello. Julius knew his cousin had a weakness for fine women, but thought that money would somehow rid him of this sickness. It only intensified it. Now Yolanda Devine was a sore spot in Julius's mind. It also made him the man he was today. At one time, Julius and Yolanda were together before the out-of-state hustler entered Yolanda's life. He was the only man that got close enough to her heart without opening his wallet. During that time, Julius was an ambitious, up-and-coming hustler with one of the hottest women in Cleveland on his arm. He opened up his heart to Yolanda, and when the out-of-state hustler entered the picture, she crushed Julius's heart like an empty pop can. That's when the supreme hustler in Julius emerged. He became a real live testament of Tupac's famous quote, M.O.B., money over bitches. Truth be told, there was a small part of him that waited for Yolanda to get her shit together and come back. Once he found out that crack became a part of her daily regimen, that small part that waited died. This made it virtually impossible for another woman to get remotely close to his cold and callous heart. Butter pulled into the parking lot of the Franklin House apartment complex, snapping Julius back into reality. Julius's right-hand man, young Gambino, was outside waiting for him. He got out of the truck and went inside without even speaking to his young soldier. Young Gambino led his boss to a ground-level, one-bedroom apartment. The first person he saw when he entered was his cousin Bama, handcuffed to a chair sitting in the middle of the living room. The only thing that covered him was a pair of dingy boxers. Bama's eyes bucked upon seeing his cousin Julius. His slim, sweating frame seemed to expand every pore on his being, making him sweat even more, thus causing his body to look like a human oil slick. "Yo, Jay, because I was..." "Man, miss me with that." Was I Jay when you disappeared a week ago? Was I Big Cuz when you ran off with my bricks and my 45,000 fucking dollars? Rage momentarily consumed Julius, causing him to haul off and bitch slap Bama in the mouth. Bama's head snapped back from the blow as the copper taste of the warm liquid quickly filled his mouth. Bama spit out the blood and was about to speak when Julius caught him in the mouth again, this time with a fist. The facial shot knocked 3 of Bama's teeth out. Now I'm going to ask you this one time and one time only. Where the fuck is my shit? Man, that's that bitch. I woke up and the shit was gone, Bama replied, spitting out 3 teeth. Julius hauled off and hit him again on the other side of his head, nearly knocking Bama unconscious. His anger caused him to strike his cousin the wrong way, breaking his pinky finger. Shit, motherfucker. Made me break my finger lying to me and shit. He grimaced in pain while holding his hand. You did for a whole week, then you suddenly wake up this morning and all the work in the dough is gone? Bullshit, Julius yelled back, handing him across his face with his good hand. Where the fuck is that bitch at? Without speaking, young Gambino went to the back and got Yolanda. When she came from the back, Julius was undeniably short of breath. Even in her cracked out scandalous condition, she still had that body. The one thing on her curvaceous frame was a pair of thongs. Her dark nipple double D's bounced around freely, still having shape to them and all. Her rotund ass jiggled with each step. Julius was thinking to himself, this can't be the cracked out bitch I heard fell from the face of the earth. Even Julius's driver, Butter, stood by the door wishing to himself he could be alone with the crackhead stallion for just an hour. Hello, Julius. Bitch, spare me with that formal shit. Where the fuck is my shit at? Yolanda looked up at Julius with those gray puppy dog eyes. Julius knew the game Yolanda was trying to run. He reached back and slapped a manipulative plan out of her. Where the fuck is my shit at? Look, I can get it back. I just need some time. Yolanda whimpered, holding her face. Bitch, who did you use to set my cousin's dumb ass up? Jay, please, I can't tell you that. They'll kill me, she exclaimed. And what the fuck you think I'm gonna do? Julius incredulously asked. Yo, Jay, can I put my clothes on? Let me help you find these motherfuckers, Bama suggested, now feeling as if he was in the clear. Julius turned around and walked over and stood next to his cousin. Damn, Bama, what the fuck am I gonna do about you? I brought you up here from a fucked up situation. I put the master plan in your hand. All you had to do was execute it. Shit wasn't that hard. Now here it is, this basehead bitch about to get your ass in a world of trouble, Julius calmly stated. Come on, cuz. Let me work that shit off. You know I'm capable. Stand up, Bama. He watched as his cousin respectfully follow his order. As he walked over to Bama, Julius let a 9-inch Bowie knife drop from under the sleeve of his mink. Julius embraced his cousin in a tight hug. I got love for you, Bama. True, genuine love. Your family. But the one thing I won't tolerate is somebody playing with my money, though. I told you over and over that these bitches is gonna be your downfall. Now here we are. Julius had his back to Yolanda and young Gambino. Butter was the only one who could see the knife in Julius's hand. He cringed, seeing the stainless steel gleam off the light in the living room. Please, Jay, just give me one more chance. Was it worth it? Julius whispered the question in his ear. What? Bama asked. Was the pussy good? Was she worth losing your life over? Come on, Jay, now you talking crazy, Bama said, trying to break Julius's embrace. After a brief struggle, Julius took the Bowie knife and plunged it deep into the back of his first cousin. Bama could feel the steel puncture vital organs as he tried to speak. The only thing that came out of his mouth was the deep crimson liquid known as blood. Yolanda covered her mouth in both astonishment and fear. She knew right then that her immediate future was looking grim. Bama's body bucked as Julius held him in the embrace. As his fight slowly diminished, so did his life. He died in the arms of the one man who truly tried to look out for him and put him on his feet. Julius gently put him back into the chair. As he did, Bama's body released itself, announcing that death was in the room. Julius turned to Yolanda looking like the Grim Reaper. Now you know you don't stand a chance if I kill my own cousin. Now where the fuck is my shit? Just as he asked, keys were heard outside the door, then into the keyhole. Butter pulled a strap. The door came open and in walked Scott Devine, Yolanda's 12-year-old daughter. Julius couldn't believe his eyes. Scott Devine was gorgeous. At such a youthful age, she was breathtaking. She was almost a spitting image of a younger Yolanda Devine, but prettier. Her gray eyes scanned the living room. Mommy? She asked, looking at her nearly nude mother. Take her to the truck, Julius ordered. Simultaneously, both Sky and Yolanda went into a fit. Butter took the butt of his gun and struck Sky in the back of her head, knocking her out cold. He threw her over his shoulder and carried her out to the Range Rover. Young Gambino had did the same to Yolanda, knocking her unconscious. Julius went to the kitchen and got a glass of water from the sink. He came back in the living room and squatted down next to her. He threw the water in her face and watched her come to. Yolanda fought the air briefly before coming around. Her eyes scanned the living room for her daughter. "Where's Sky?" she asked. "I just figured out how you gonna pay me back. I'm gonna take your daughter." "Julius, please, don't take my baby. She's all that I have left. Your money and dope is under the sink in the bathroom. There's a board in the cabinet. Just move the board and you'll find your shit. Please don't take my baby." Julius nodded to young Gambino to get his money and dope. As soon as the young soldier went to retrieve his action, he ran his hand down Yolanda's thick frame, across her double D's, over her wide hips, down her thick legs, and back up, cuffing her silk-covered treasure. "You could have had it all, Ma. If only you would have been patient with me. Back then, you were by far the coldest bitch a nigga ever had, but you shitted on me. So now, I'm gonna do the same to you. I'm gonna take the one thing that means something to your little trifling ass. I'm gonna take your daughter." Julius leaned down and forcefully kissed Yolanda on the lips. While doing so, he took the Bowie knife and plunged it deep into her chest. She tried to fight her life-ending wound and drowned in her own blood during the process. "Yo, Jay, it was right where she said it would be. What do you want me to do with it?" he asked, coming out of the bathroom, then looking at the knife sticking out of Yolanda's chest. "Burn both of them with it." Chapter 1. There's one word that comes to mind when I look back on the last 10 years of my life, and that word is simply wow. Sometimes I feel like Job and Joseph from the Bible. These two men were stripped down to nothing only to gain everything after their trials and tribulations. I actually feel like that. So yes, at this point I have everything my heart desires, can get anything my heart desires. I'm on top of the world with no plans on coming down. I got enough money to keep generation after generation happy. If financially managed correctly, beyond that. My wife, she is definitely the real deal. I know it sounds like I'm boasting and bragging, and that's not the case. I guess if you knew where I came from and what I had to endure to get to this current point in my life, then you'll understand. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you judge for yourself. I had plans on writing this gangsta-ass book about romance, drugs, money, and sex, subjects that help garner my notoriety today. I strongly feel that my story will make a far better book. I hope my publicist will accept this and don't dig too far in my ass. I just have to give you my story. My name is Jerome Williams, also known as C-Town Slim. I'm gonna take it back to the beginning, the significant point where it all began. Oh shit, that's another thing my publicist won't like, is the fact that I'm talking about prison life. She told me in my genre of writing, prison life has been touched on so many times that it has been redundantly burned out. Unfortunately, that's the point where it all began for me, 1999 at the Mansfield Correctional Camp in Mansfield, Ohio. So before you toss this book in the garbage, can you at least give me a chance? Believe me, it would be well worth the money you spent. I was serving 6 months at Mansfield Camp, embarrassingly known as Camp Cupcake, for getting knocked on a humbug with a quarter-ounce of dope. Spending a few dollars for a lawyer, along with the first-time offense program, the judge showed your boy leniency. So here I was doing 6 months with a bunch of meth and crack abusers. For real, there were only a few polished cats in the whole camp. The only reason why they were there because they'd been locked up for years in a higher security prison elsewhere and their status dropped, and they came here. I'll explain the security status later when it's relevant. In any case, I'm trying to walk this shit down so I can get out there to my son. During the whole court procedures, my girl Cassandra was pregnant with my firstborn, Jerome Williams Jr. So yeah, it kind of fucked with me mentally sitting in prison missing the most precious moments of my son's life. Cassandra was a soldier and stood by my side damn near every step of the way. The steps that she couldn't take with me were because she were on the hospital bed pushing a better version of myself out of her womb. Please believe after she had J-Dub, she was in Mansfield limping to see my sorry ass. Damn, I love that girl. I promised myself when I hit the bricks to turn my life around and marry her. You know, the house with the white picket fence, dog in the backyard. Just take care of my own personal family. I had a plan. With 6 months to serve, I really couldn't come up with a significant one except for never returning to this shithole. Yeah, this place was for those stupid motherfuckers getting knocked with a stem and a couple of rocks, or some ignorant prick who wanted to hop behind the wheel while he was sloppy drunk. Then again, who am I kidding? I mean, being in the dope game, crossing your T's and dotting your I's should be second nature in this line of work. Anything short of that is a prison stay or death one. Thank God it wasn't the latter. Hell, I'm no better than the rest of these schmucks in here. I mean, let's be real. What person in my line of work didn't realize he was carrying a quarter ounce of dope in his pocket? Sometimes I feel as though I deserve to be in here. It definitely changed me. Let me not get all self-righteous on you and stick to my story. Anyway, I'm in this nasty ass camp, more like a rehab center, with a great anticipation of going home and being a model citizen. As soon as I hit 4 months into my time, my little cousin comes down, Dwight Williams. Everybody in the family calls him Lil D. My peeps was scared to death when he first got down here. I could see it in his eyes. 18 years old on a 6-month sentence. You could tell the little nigga either watched too many prison movies or really paid attention to some of our older uncles who did time in the old reformatory, Mansfield Correctional Institution. It was respectfully known as Castle Grayskull. That's a true story. They hit us off with stories of gang rape, extortion, and extreme survival. Lil D comes into camp with his tail tucked between his legs. I know I shouldn't be talking about family, but hey, it is what it is. Once he found out I was down here and deciphered what Camp Cupcake was really all about, this little nigga ran around like he had an S on his chest. I'm trying to calm the little Thundercat down because I'm not trying to get into some shit because he done got his ass into some shit. Feel me? It took about a week for me to turn his adrenaline level down. Okay, now let me get back to the security level thing. First and foremost, Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, DRC, will place a person on a certain level of security due to the nature of their crime. There are 5 levels of security: super max, max, close, medium, and minimum. Naturally, DRC won't place me in a super max security prison with 6 months to serve. You have to shoot a cop to get a pass like that. There's a significant reason I'm explaining the levels of security. There was an inmate that was in a maximum security prison. For 20 years of good behavior, DRC dropped his security status to close. In the shuffling of paperwork or even a slip of a finger on the keyboard, this inmate slipped through the cracks and came to Camp Cupcake. The mistake was he should have went to Mansfield Correction, which was the close institution. Instead, he came to Mansfield Correction Camp, which of course is the minimum camp. This inmate's name was Melvin White, and he single-handedly realigned the stars of my life. I was on a particular path heading in a secure, serene direction, or so I thought. This Melvin character maliciously altered that path. On paper, Melvin was a model inmate. You would expect him to eventually hit the bricks one day. Off paper, his ass was a fucking parasite, a disease if you will. He would bully, extort, and sodomize anyone who he thought was weak. How his ass snuck through the cracks, I'll never know. Yo, Ron, you going to chow? Lil D asked. I was laying back on my rack, headphones on, watching TV with the remote in my hand. I pulled my headphone off one ear. I don't know yet why. Man, they got some bullshit over there. I want to eat out my box, but I need some mayo, cheese, and barbecue sauce. Oh, got that, I said, sitting up, opening my locker box. Just get it out of there. All right, let me go and take a shower. As soon as I get done, I'll cook. Just clean your bowl out. No offense, Lil D, but your ass can't cook. When you get done, you come and get me, I said, trying to suppress a laugh. Lil D couldn't cook for an early out date. I wasn't due to go to the store for another week, and I was low on condiments. I'd be damned if Lil D messed up my last on a bad dish. All right, whatever. Give me about 30 minutes. Hurry up, man, before the mic grows a line, I told him, putting my headphones on my ear, laying back down. Lil D walked back over to his rack. His bunkie and his neighbor were complaining about the CO being up at the control booth instead of at the station so we can get our mail, the one thing we actually have to look forward to besides our outdates. Lil D pulled his locker box from under his rack and opened it. He was in a bit of a rush with his stomach touching his back and all. He grabbed his necessary clothing, then shut the box. Excuse me, he said to his bunkie, then reached over him and grabbed his cosmetic bag with his hygiene in it and his towel and rag. He inspected his items, making sure he had everything, then scooped them up and made his way to the shower. Little D was grateful to see that no one was in the shower. With prison, the fewer showers running, the hotter the water gets. Little D went to the last stall and cut it on. The water shot out the shower head in a hot, steamy spray. He reached up and turned the shower head to the soap scum molded wall. He cringed after looking at all the filth the shower walls and floor held. I can't wait to go home, he stated under his breath. Little D stripped down, stepped in his shower shoes, then pulled the shower head in his direction. The water was hotter than expected to be. It was evident the way he jumped back. It took a few minutes before Little D was under the shower head enjoying the hot water. Remembering what his cousin Rome told him, he lathered up his rag and washed his face. Lil D closed his eyes to avoid the thick lather that ran down. A feeling overcame him. It was the undeniable presence of someone invading his personal space. Lil D hurried up and rinsed the soap off his face and turned around to see Melvin White in his entire 280-pound muscular frame. He stood there ass naked, stroking his member that looked more like an arm. "Damn, bitch, you got a nice ass," he grunted while licking his lips. Lil D saw the deranged hunger in his eyes. "Say, man, what the fuck you doing?" Lil D asked, barely audible. Stark fear gripped his heart and squeezed, paralyzing him. "What the fuck it look like? You about to give me some of that vagina. You can either give it to me or I'm gonna take it." Melvin cocked back and landed a devastating blow right in Lil D's mouth. The punch severely dazed him. Just as he was about to slip into unconsciousness, Lil D felt his rectum tore in half. The 4 o'clock news had just gone off. That shit was so depressing to me. How much death, politics, and high-rising gas prices could a man take? Anyway, I'm looking at my watch wondering where the hell my little cousin was. I was hungry as hell and waiting on him to eat. Just then, 2 cats who I speak to from time to time hit the top of my street. The whole time they're walking down my road, they looking at me crazy and shit. I don't know what's on their mind, so I threw on the Nikes. Better safe than sorry. They come at me sideways. At least I had some rubber on my feet for traction, you feel me? I stood as they came to my rack, and they just stood there as if they were afraid to speak or something. "What's up? You got something you want to say?" I asked, ready to take off on the first one in arm's reach. "Yo, Rome, it's your cousin. He's..." My heart started pounding like crazy. Something was wrong, and they knew what it was. "My cousin what?" I asked. They just stood there looking at me crazy. "My cousin what?" I yelled, tired of this painful guessing game they were putting me through. "He's in the shower," one of the guys said, then dropped his head. And I could remember it like it was yesterday. "The shower? What do you mean?" That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no," I yelled, shaking my head. I bust through them in an all-out sprint. You would have thought I was Michael Jackson on a 100-meter dash the way I made tracks to the bathroom. When I got inside, there was a crowd of inmates blocking the entrance of the shower. Some of them saw me coming and moved out the way. The ones that didn't, I just moved myself. All I saw were a pair of feet hanging out past the shower wall. "Oh, fuck," I whispered as I slowly made my way toward my little cousin. That short distance felt like a mile. A part of me didn't want to see what was up in that shower stall. The other half of me had to. I unofficially made myself the protector of Little D. I had to protect him. I was supposed to be there to protect him from this life-changing tragedy, but I wasn't. I got to the last stall and almost fainted in disbelief. My cousin, Lil D, was knocked out in a fetal position. Semen, feces, and blood leaked out of his rectum. The smell was stifling. As I bent down, I noticed another small puddle of blood with 3 teeth swimming in it. I bent down and put my hand on his forehead. It got dead silent. All I heard was my heart beating wildly as rage tore through my body. "Damn, Dwight, I'm sorry, dawg. I'm sorry this happened to you. You don't have to worry though, my nigga. I'm about to kill the nigga who did it or die trying." Tears flooded my eyes. A thick lump made its way to my throat. I put that on everything," I said to myself, all choked up and shit. I gently laid my cousin's head on the filthy soap scum pubic hair floor. I walked calmly through the gathering crowd. "Who did this?" I asked. "And it was that cocky motherfucker Melvin. That ain't the only..." Man, I wasn't trying to hear that shit. These stupid dudes let a nigga rape them and then don't do shit about it. That's their fault. That's what the fuck they get. But touching mine? Oh, you gotta go. In my eyes, you gave up your right to live amongst decent human beings. Somebody go and get the CO. Tell him to get my cousin some help," I calmly stated like a true deranged madman and continued out of the bathroom and went to Melvin's rack. He wasn't there. "Yo, man, he's in the day room." I didn't look up to see who offered the information. I was too far gone. I walked by a rack of a dude who makes greeting cards for inmates. He had his whole art kit out. Homeboy wasn't at his rack, so I helped myself to 2 of his freshly sharpened colored pencils. As I walked by the bathroom, a slew of COs were rushing to lock the bathroom door. Operation Lockdown went into full swing. "Everyone on their racks!" they yelled. I saw Melvin sitting at a table in the day room playing cards. You have got to be fucking kidding me, I thought to myself. I slowly made my way over to the table as he was getting up. Now that I look back, I don't think Melvin knew that Lil D was my cousin. I say that because he walked right by me. Honestly, I didn't give a fuck if he knew or not. Element of surprise on that ass. I crept up behind him and swung the pencil right there smack in the center of his throat. As soon as I removed it, a stream of blood squirted out. I looked on as this big heap of muscles dropped to his knees defensively holding onto his neck. His eyes bucked as blood poured through his fingers. That was my cue. I was all on his ass, Swiss cheese in this nigga's neck and face. I blacked out on his ass. All I saw was Lil D laying on that nasty ass floor with nut, shit, and blood leaking out of his ass. Before I knew it, I was being pulled off of him by 5 COs. When I actually came back to my natural God-given senses, I looked back at Melvin. He was lying in a puddle of blood, his shit leaking out of numerous holes I psychotically inflicted. The pencils I used on Melvin were practically new, sharpened maybe twice. I stuck one in his right eye so deep that all you could see was the eraser. That's what the fuck you get.
Okay, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like I said, I'm gonna be bringing more content. I'm gonna be bringing more chapters back from this book, but I'm about to get off into the next book because I got to keep this thing rolling. So, tell people about me. Like, share, subscribe, hit the icon bell so you guys know when Black Cartel drop content. So, until then, man, I love y'all. Be safe. Maestro, take me out of here, man.
B is for ballers, black. Basically, we handle our business. L for limo tent, so let Dave Cleve be my witness. A for arithmetic, whereas it keeps the eyes gazing. Total my addition, multiplication, subtraction, and equations. C is for Capone, cause without me, there's no home. Foundation, a place for the Black Cartel camp to roam. K is for killers, clap and dome. While I'm sitting